Today we are talking about Mars traveling through your second house. The second house is your house of money. About once every 2 years, Mars goes through your house of money. And it will stay there for a couple of months, or if it goes retrograde, it can stay there for 4 or 5 months. But during this time, you have all of that energy of Mars, which is about taking very focused action, being assertive, figuring out where you fit in to your area of money. And so that means money opportunities for you, also spending opportunities, and looking at what you possess in your life and deciding what you're going to do with it. So for about 2 months, when Mars is traveling through your second house, you may start a business. You might look at existing revenue streams and see how you can expand them. You may look at starting a side business, or even just looking at the stuff that you have and saying, I'm not going to just send it to Goodwill, I'm going to flip it on eBay. Because Mars is about action, you're likely to take a lot of action about your money, and that can be setting up a budget, starting to do investments, taking classes on investing. If anyone owes you money, you will be quite aggressive about pursuing it, but also recognize that that energy can work both ways. And if you owe money, then you may be pursued during this time. And that can set up some combative energy between you and money, or you and that person. And while money is not a good measure of how good a person is, it is something that society kind of perpetuates, this idea that if you have a lot of money, you're doing well, and that you'll definitely feel that energy while you're doing this transit. So if you're doing well financially, you may feel very good about yourself. And if you're not doing well financially, then you are, the Mars pushes you to take action to make some changes. Now, again, money is not a good measure of whether a person is doing well in their life. There are lots of people who are doing extraordinarily well spiritually and emotionally and intellectually who don't have $1 billion. But because Mars is very focused in this area, it can cause you to gravitate towards status items. And so you can make impulse purchases during this time just so that you appear to be doing, well. And so a lot of times people will go out and buy a fancy car or watch or pair of shoes just so that they have that status item. And so be careful when you're doing this transit, because more money can come in, but more money can go out. Now, the best part of this transit is how useful it is. And it takes whatever skills you have and whatever resources you have, and it can put them to use. So that is like starting a business and all that, but that also is like if there's a pile of wood in the garage, you're going to build a table. If there's a bunch of fabric in your craft room, you're going to make your wardrobe. If there's stuff in the pantry you haven't used, you're going to find new ways to make interesting dishes for the family. So it's extremely good for acquiring practical skills, very useful skills, and skills that could be traded for money later down the road. As I said before, if Mars is retrograde, it could last several more months in this house, and that is 4 or 5 months total, giving you plenty of time to take action in these areas. And yet, for most people, it's going to be about 2 months. So when this happens, you do want to pay attention to it, because you're not going to get this transit again for 2 years. And that's it. If you're interested in more about Mars, I do readings, and so there's a link in the description. I can also send you a PDF copy of your chart. There's a link for that in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.